We had a great weekend of NRL fixtures with some really close games and some dominant performances, as well as that battle between the Dolphins, Manly and the Roosters to make the 8. So much that happened, so let me recap it for you guys in this video. So I welcome you to LTW. There's a new thing I wanted to do, and it's with the comments, and I wanted to make a question and answer the video, and I want you to answer in the comments. This one's question is, do you like wrestling? I just watched WWE SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, so many great stuff. So I want to know how many of you guys actually like watching wrestling, because possibly videos could be on that in the future. But with that said, we're going to kick off with the first game between the Eels and the Storm. Now the Eels, unfortunately for me, they lost 10-16. The Storm, though, their performance wasn't very good. You saw Pappenhausen miss some pretty easy kicks, and he got taken off kicking eventually later in the game. The Eels had opportunities, but just weren't good enough. It was a success for the Storm, but a lot to improve. Okay, then we go on to the Friday game, the first Friday game between the Warriors and the Dolphins. The Warriors coming off an unfortunate loss to the Titans last week, and the Dolphins are coming off they're going to this game and they're like, okay, we need a win so we can make the 8. That's their goal, and in a close game, they were able to win 18-20. Then we go over to Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, where we saw the Broncos dominate the Rabbitohs 60-14. One of the biggest scorelines so far this season scored by any team. It was just a dominant performance by the Broncos, and it shows that in the scoreline. The Rabbitohs are not good enough. Eventually, when their players do get back to fully fit, I'm sure something will change, but for now, Broncos dominate, and that's good for them. They're coming off a loss against the Eels last week, and they're one of the teams, they could drop out the 8 magically somehow, so they're going to be careful now. Then we go to the next game between the Titans and the Panthers. Quite a bit of controversy in this game, where Penrith were kind of accused as cheating, when one of the, I don't know what you call them, drink plate guys, one of the coaches, what do you call them, coaches, runs in front of the Gold Coast Titans player, when he was about to take conversion, and then he had to reposition it, and then he missed. So that was a bit of a cheating thing. Eventually, Ivan Cody came out and he said about, it's just an honest mistake. I don't really know what to believe. I think it was definitely something that Penrith guy, coach, whatever, was thinking 100% to run in front to distract him. But the main, another story from that game is that Penrith weren't very good. Well, they were in the first half when they were 24-0, then with the Titans coming all the way back and then to be leading them as well, and then which would have been 26 for the time. Then they had the conversion, all that happened, they missed it, and if they scored, it would have been 24. They would have won the game, They would have won the game. Unfortunately, they missed it, and Cleary scored a long field goal, which accounted for 2 points, won the golden point, and Penrith scored a try in the golden point. Then we go to the Dragons and Raiders. Genuinely didn't really watch too much of the game, but all I know is the Dragons were just that better side. The Raiders have stuff to improve. I know for these first half they've not been looking good, and I thought they'd bounce back in the second, but no, it didn't happen. Fortunately for the Dragons, great team, but they're unable to make the 8 this season, but they're really showing something by beating the Premiership favourites, the Raiders. Then we go over to Manly and the Roosters. Probably one of the most emptiest games because it was pouring down with rain and no one really wanted to go watch it. But for the people who did, they got to see some entertaining football if you're a Roosters fan. See, the Manly were not very good. They scored a try early on and it looked quite good for them. Missed the conversion, and then the Roosters went on to dominate the rest of the game, winning 20-4. Then we'll go on to the final 2 games now. The Sunday games, which was between the Tigers and the Bulldogs. The Tigers absolutely shocked the Bulldogs at CommBank Stadium, which for people who don't know it was a Tigers home game, but occasionally both teams do play there. So you were expecting to kind of see an equal balance of supporters. Obviously there's a few issues and things with players and stuff after, but necessarily it was just great footy by the Tigers. And the Bulldog, something's happening at that club, and there needs to be stuff that needs to be fixed over there. Then we go to the final game, and all I can say, dominance by the Sharks. The Cowboys were poor and they just didn't play well, so they should try and work on that. But in Townsville they're good, but anywhere else they're not really, and that's a consistent thing for them this entire season. But yeah, Sharks are the better team, 32-12. And the Knights had the bye. Then we'll go on to a little ladder type of stuff. You saw the Storm go ahead the Bulldogs. The Roosters go ahead of Manly. Dragons, Tigers, all moved up. Cowboys went down to 13th. Eagles dropped down to 15th because the Knights got points because of a bye. Yeah, but those are the main changes. The 8 still has Dolphins, Sharks, Broncos, Panthers, Warriors, Bulldogs, Storm, and Raiders, with Manly and Roosters being the only teams who can still make the 8 that are outside the 8. Now we'll go quick onto the NRLW before we end the video, where the Titans and the Bulldogs drew 14-14. Tigers got dominated by the Roosters 34-4. The Broncos beat the Sharks 28-14. The Cowboys lost 6-12 to the Warriors. The Knights dominated the Raiders 18-0. And the Eels beat the Dragons 12-10 in a close game. But anyway, that's all. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to go back if you forgot the question and type it in the comments. I'll also type it in the comments as an own comment by myself, just to remind you guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this week of Rugby League. I'll see you guys next week for the next episode of LTW. Goodbye, guys.